Here's the thing, if you don't have the same drive you had at the beginning of the year, you need to watch this video. Fam, what's up? Welcome back to the Entrepreneur Mindset series. Let's talk about one of the scariest things that can happen to entrepreneurs, especially if you have been busy throughout the year, right? And then depending on how your year went, if you were very successful or not so successful, I mean, there's a lot of ups and downs, right? But it's not uncommon to have a lot more drive at the beginning of the year than towards the end of the year, right? Right now, we're rolling into December. It's towards the end of November when I'm recording this video. And it's interesting how this happens, this mental shift happens. Most burnout happens towards the end of the year, right? Now, there's a couple of different factors that play in there, and I just kind of want to highlight those so you have some awareness. As entrepreneurs, again, we go through the battle, we go through the gauntlet on a daily basis. And going through the gauntlet can create logistical weight as well as mental weight. When it comes to mindset, it's interesting, but towards the end of the year again, there's a lot of things that are changing. A lot of the pressure comes from expectations for the next year. Maybe you look back at your results for the year and they're not exactly where you wanted them to be. All these things, little by little, they become almost like negative deposits if you allow them to. If you're not practicing on a daily basis, positive mental reinforcement where you speak to yourself and you have affirmations that come in, you just solidify who that person is within you on a regular basis, and you remind yourself about your capability as an entrepreneur, as a human being, period. Right? If you're not doing that kind of stuff, being proactive about keeping your mental state healthy, all the bad stuff, it's almost like you can't help it. It's gonna leak in, all right? It's gonna leak into that mental, to that thought process that we have on a daily basis, and then you're gonna start building this crazy story that's based off of negative stuff. Right? Like, oh, I wasn't able to close that deal. I wasn't able to hire, people properly. So-and-so left the company. I almost had that project completed and the whole thing fell apart. That kind of stuff, right? That's easy to come to awareness with. Why? Because it's in front of our face, and I don't know, there's something about human nature that we like to highlight the stuff that we're bad at. We like to highlight the stuff that we didn't accomplish, right? But it's easy to forget about the wins. If you're not proactively remembering your daily wins, right, and feeding yourself that good vibe, that good energy, that good positive reinforcement, you are gonna get caught up in all the minutia of the negative stuff, right? So think of these as negative deposits, especially again, towards the end of the year, we start thinking about, man, my goals that I had were up here, yet my results were, mediocre at best, right? We'll start beating ourselves with thoughts like that. And it's one of those things that unless you absolutely crushed it, you hit every single thing, to the T as you were going through the year, it's almost inevitable because it's part of the nature of the beast. We get to that end of the year process and we start thinking about next year, right? And then we go through that list of things that we didn't accomplish that are going to be rolled into next year, and just the weight gets bigger. So there's change happening usually towards the end of the year. Why? Because we want to evolve into that next year. If you're an entrepreneur that's constantly going, that's going to be your MO. And again, this creates uncertainty. It creates a lack of clarity on where to go. Now, if you throw that into the pot and mix it with a handful of failures that perhaps didn't, you weren't expecting throughout the year, and then throw in the pressure of next year, it's going to be easy to want to burn out, all right? It's going to be easy to want to quit. It's going to be easy to not want to perform to your best ability. And it's going to be easy to be a little bit afraid about what's to come, right? We don't know what's going on with the market, yada, 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 the entire thing. At the end of the day, the battle is within us, right? So it's easy to allow a sense of burnout to just come in and take over us, all right? Burnout is one of the scariest things an entrepreneur can go through. Why? Because you lose yourself in the process of getting burned out. Meaning that you forget who you are, you forget about the things that really drive you, you forget about the happiness of life, about the joyful things that you do on a regular basis. That smile in your face starts to fade and really dim down to almost a spot of non-existence. That's what happens with burnout. When we have that emotional burnout as entrepreneurs, because we have all these pressures, coming on top of us, and then we have, defeats here and there happening, and we're not banking on the wins that we're acquiring on a daily basis. We're not being aware of all the progress that we're making on a daily basis, right? We're not taking time to be proactive and work on ourselves, work on our emotional well-being. all those bad things are gonna pile up and then you're gonna feel heavy. What happens after that by default? I mean, I can tell you time and time again, I've seen it, I've experienced it myself, it's burnout. You are gonna get burned out, you're gonna feel defeated, and then you're gonna feel like you don't have the drive to move forward and that higher version of yourself that entrepreneurship requires, right? So what to do about it? That's a big thing. What's a big question, right? At the end of the day, clarity. Yeah, you are gonna be proactive. You are gonna be, doing affirmations and working through, meditation routines and practices and all that stuff, right? All that matters. But at the end of the day, the one simple concept of clarity is gonna create volumes in terms of progress, all right? So get clear. The first thing that you wanna do is get clear about where you're at right now. Do an inventory of what happened this year. Okay, how did you start? What kind of goals did you have at the beginning of the year, right? From that point forward, ask yourself, honestly, this is an honest conversation between you and you. You sit down, you write it out, and then where did I end up, okay? I'm almost close to the end of the year. Pretty much you can scratch it out. If you're in real estate, you're done, because anything that we get under contract from now till the end of the year, this is November 20th, it's not even gonna close until January, right? So in real estate, we're done. We're like, anything we were gonna generate and close, for the most part, it's gonna be gone. So with that in mind, right, where did you end up, right? As far as, were you really close to your goals? Were you far from your goals? Just do a mind dump on that kind of stuff. Just get it out of your system, right? We're not, trying to assess or do check boxes for qualifiers or anything like that. Just do a mind dump of where did you honestly end up. The next thing you're gonna do is create inventory of the stuff that still matters. So a lot of times we'll craft, right? We'll craft goals and tasks and to-do lists and all that stuff for things that don't even matter at the end of the day, right? So I want you to look back at the beginning of the year and the plan that you crafted for yourself back then, right? And you created goals and all that stuff. Do inventory of the stuff that still matters, right? A lot of times we'll create goals and set benchmarks and targets and stuff like that for stuff that 3 months down the road changes, doesn't matter anymore, yet we're still on that path, right? So just be honest about that. Be aware about that. Out of everything that you're still working on, what still matters, right? And what do you want to carry on to next year? Now, this next task, which will trickle on to next year, is going to be the big clarity thing. Set up a SMART goal of the big thing that you want to hit next year, all right? SMART meaning specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound, all right? Those are the elements of a SMART goal. Make sure that you have all of that stuff in your goal. Now, when you get clear on what that big SMART goal is, you're gonna do daily hit lists, all right? I do a thing, I call it my daily top 3. So I have a top 3 hit list. There's 3 things that I do on a daily basis that walk me towards that goal, right? They walk me through, towards whatever target I'm trying to get to and whatnot, but I have 3. I pick 3 on a daily basis. I have 1,000 other tasks that I need to do. I get it, right? Like we all do, but we can't tackle them all at the same time, right? So what you're gonna do on a daily basis is prioritize. You're gonna pick the top 3, and those become your hit list for today. So every morning, right? When you wake up, you have a top 3 set of things that you're gonna hit that day. No matter what happens, you're gonna finish those 3 things. Then you're gonna move on to the next top 3 the day after. So that's how you start, kind of going through the tasks. You stay in alignment. Why? Because you're thinking ahead. You're being proactive about this whole thing unravels in front of you, right? So again, it's about getting clear. A lot of times when we get burned out, we just sit there and we get stagnant and we start looking into the abyss. Why? Because there's no sense of clarity. I don't feel like doing things. I like the energy is not there. Crazy thing is that sometimes it's not even the energy. It's just the fact that we don't know where to start, okay? So your top 3 hit list is gonna be a big, big tool, right? That's shaped or crafted after your overall goal. All right, so we need to come to terms to what the goal is going to be in the first place, and the reverse engineer, and then we're going to figure out top 3 activities, right? Daily hit list. Understand this, you're not alone as an entrepreneur. It's easy to get overwhelmed. It's easy to get that sensation of burnout. And if you're feeling it, if you think you're feeling it, it's a red flag, right? It's just a red flag for mental well-being, just calling you out. Give yourself that space. Give yourself that awareness of being proactive as to what to do to keep your mindset right? Talk to yourself every morning, journal, put stuff out there, become more open with yourself. A lot of times, because that ego gets in the way, we don't want to share, we don't want to expose and allow people into our space, because that shows we're weak. It shows that we don't know what we're doing. As entrepreneurs, I got a secret for you. 99% of the time we don't. Why? Because we're figuring shit out as we go. All right, that's the reality of it. Anybody who says different is probably lying to you. They haven't been an entrepreneur or a real entrepreneur for long enough. But yeah, that's the case, right? What we have going on for us is the tenacity, it's the drive, it's the willingness to do more things bigger, right? To think bigger, to dream. And that takes courage. So don't allow yourself to be dimmed. Do not allow that light to just start fading because you have a sensation of burnout and perhaps that awareness of piling on your wins, right? Counting your blessings as we go along has been, turned off. Turn it back on, right? We have the right to call ourselves out for the good stuff we do as entrepreneurs, right? There's a lot of effort, a lot of time, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that go into the stuff that we do on a daily basis, regardless of what industry you're in. So understand that burnout is a real thing. We catch it at the beginning. It's not something that you want to wait until you have to go to therapy and then recover from depression and all that stuff because it gets nasty. All right, so do something about it as we're going into it. The first thing to tackle is going to be clarity. Are you in alignment? Are you on the path of the person that you want to become? And if not, do something about it right now, right? Get clear, get a SMART goal in place and start hitting your top threes, right? Stay focused, stay hungry, you got this.